There are few racing venues set in a more idyllic setting than Northwest Connecticut's Lime Rock Park. An absolutely beautiful venue, structures designed by the legend Sam Posey, the straight named after Sam as well. Lime Rock, born in 1956, first race in 1957. It is North America's longest continuously running road racing circuit, and we are here this weekend for the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Lime Rock, powered by M. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Calvin Fish. Gino Carini will be covering all of the touring car action with us from pit lane today. And, you know, Cal, this is a legendary weekend. The sports cars at Lime Rock, that kind of mystique fits in very well with the global activities that are happening. Monaco this weekend, the Indianapolis 500, Charlotte. Everything happens on Memorial Day weekend. It's a special one.
It is, and when you drive in here, Greg, they've done such a tremendous job of updating the facility, making it more competitive friendly with the paddock areas and everything, and for the fans too, but it still holds that nostalgia. You still feel a historical value of this circuit. It's amazing.
It is. It's just stunning. We've had absolutely glorious weather thus far, huge crowd on hand, and we're back to the long format that ran so many years here. Racing action on Friday and Saturday, Sunday off. We are in a park after all, and then back to racing for a full day of GT action on Monday. It's jam-packed full.
It is. It's a very busy schedule. It's very tight. Lots of action, lots of racing for the fans to see. 4 races today, 4 on Monday, just in Pirelli World Challenge alone, plus all the support events. So it's a great weekend for the fans.
It is. We want to remind everybody that we are, of course, having all of the races will be carried live on our global web feed, just world-challenge.com. You're there already, but tell others, have them join us. If you can't manage to listen or watch while you're on the web stream and you happen to be driving, well, you can tune us in on Sirius XM Radio this season. Big announcement unfolding, and it's available on channel 383 on your radio, or if you're using the app, channel 983. It's a free listening weekend, so even if you don't have those channels, you can get them this weekend. So tell friends and family to go ahead and tune on in. And of course, the races themselves will be unfolding with our enhanced coverage on CBS Sports Network. So really have things pretty well covered here, and absolute joy to be back at this event and looking forward to this race. Again, today, all touring car action, and of course this year we have 4 races because the touring cars run by themselves in 2 races, and the combined touring car R, TCR, and touring car A run in their own race group, so double the fun.
Double the fun, and we're going to see a lot of traffic come into play, certainly during the second half of these races. So you got to be up on your toes, you got to make really smart moves, and it's a chess game. You got to be thinking way ahead.
And on your screen right now is Greg Ricks in the center, and it is invocation time, and the national anthem time going to be sung today by no less than Aurora Strauss, who will be competing in some of the racing unfolding this weekend. So very poignant on this Memorial Day weekend. I'll tell you, what a talented young lady. A voice like that. Accepted to Harvard, put it off for a year so she could concentrate on her racing this year, and is proving to be a pretty adept racer herself. Just a delight to have her here and sing that anthem.
She's a great addition to our paddock, Greg. She does a great job on the racetrack. She's very professional. She ticks all of the boxes that you're looking for in a young professional driver.
Having a look right here at the diving turn, the exit of the diving turn, just off to the right, a steep drop that comes down, and you are carrying some immense speed and heading down that front straight, now the Sam Posey straight into Big Bend. And this track, certainly they have corner numbers, but here it's pretty much known by the track, the names on the track. And right now we're closing in on getting ready to set this one underway, so let's get down to Gino Carini.
Welcome, race fans, to the GP at Lime Rock Park, powered by M Performance. Brought to you by Pirelli Tire, Pirelli of North America, and Pirelli World Challenge. Here to give the most famous commands in motorsports is the president and founder of FCP Euro, Nick Bauer.
Drivers, start your engines.
And this field springs to life, and this one should be pretty amazing here, Cal. We're taking a look at TCR, which is its first ever season in the Pirelli World Challenge, a global formula, and the TCA class, which has proven to be very competitive in past years and is certainly living up to that. But you take a look at the pole speed, the fast lap, and these TCR cars, they are rocking around this place.
They really are. They're very well suited. They have a high level of downforce. You look at them, they're pretty trick in terms of what they're able to achieve for the driver. They give them great grip. The key today with this constant turning to the right, other than one left-hander as we see it there in the backdrop, is about tire degradation, keeping the tires underneath the race car for these drivers over this 40-minute sprint race.
Well, let's take a look at our Pirelli storing lines, and in the touring car, the TCR category, really right now it's a top three stranglehold.
It is. The powerhouse teams, as we expected, real time, and Brian Herder Autosport have swept all 4 wins so far this year. Eversley leads this championship with a victory and all podium finishes. Mark Wilkins 2 wins, but that DNF has hurt him in the points that he had at VIR.
And we have to take a look, of course, at the best of the rest. Behind those 3, there's some fierce battling.
Well, with the Hyundai problems at VIR for both Lewis and Wilkins, that allowed Jeremy Daniel to jump onto the podium in both races at VIR. A great performance by he. And Mason Philippi is actually the fastest driver in the qualifying run here outside of those powerhouse teams, lining up in 4th position.
And in the touring car A class, which will be running along with them, it's really a 2-horse race in the points, and ironically, one of them's a harness race.
That's right. We've got the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ by the championship leader Eric Powell. He's had a couple of victories. Tom O'Gorman, he's had 2 wins with a front-wheel drive Honda Civic SI, so 4 wins between them. And they've got a big championship lead already over the rest of the pack. I think they're going to be duking it out all season long.
Absolutely. And Ryan Eversley pole, which is a record here because it's the first time they've run a rocking fast 43.429 second lap. And Gino Carini, always more developments that happened during the course of the weekend. What are you finding out?
Definitely, Greg. It turns out that the BOP here this weekend, and in fact globally, has changed for the Hyundais and the Hondas. They've added some ride height to them. They've given away or added a little bit of extra weight, but it looks like tire degradation and keeping it clean in the first turn is going to be the key to success this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. There's you were talking about it, the constant loading here. You almost set the car up a little uniquely at this track, don't you?
Yeah, asymmetric. Basically, it's making it set up for an oval. You just want the thing to turn right most of the time, other than that one left-hander, which is a critical corner. You can't afford to just give it away to set you up to get on with that back straightaway just one corner later. So this will be a fascinating battle. Eversley, though, has seemed to have an extreme amount of pace here, even over the Hyundais this weekend. So those latest rounds of changes that Gino just related to in terms of the balance of performance, the technical regulations made a big difference. However, they still seem to have a massive gap over the rest of the pack.
And as you see, all of our touring car races today will use the traditional Lime Rock layout with the wicked quick climbing uphill turn up and over the rise. I think with these TCR cars, front wheel drive, they're going to have to be very judicious when that car gets light up there because of that tire wear. It's an issue. Let's talk a little bit about the TCR class for viewers that may not be real familiar with it.
Well, it's a global platform, as you mentioned. They're all 4 or 5 door machines, 2-liter turbo cars, producing about 350 horsepower. They have 3 different map settings they can run to actually increase or reduce the horsepower outputs, and they run to the WTCR BOP regulations that Gino was relating to. So there's a big change over in the World Championship a couple of weeks ago. That made some changes to how we were seeing the results lay out, and the same thing has taken place here. But they're cool cars. You can see them, high downforce, very trick machines.
And there you can see the TCA field as they are coming at you. And again, they have put on some exceptionally impressive runs here this season. You can see Kenny Murillo on pole in that category in the Murillo Racing Global MX5 Cup car at a 58.761. And a good run for him there with Tom O'Gorman, who's a serious player in the points, right alongside Eric Powell, who's been very fast this year, back in third. A little bit of a surprise there.
Yeah, he actually skipped free practice too. His teammate Jeff Sexton actually needed a par off of Powell's car, so I'm not sure if that really affected his, development of the car, getting it set up for qualifying this weekend.
All right, so again, this 2 formation laps, the first of the 2 races of these doubleheader touring car weekends, rolling starts. We'll have standing starts for the races this afternoon. And racing the same day, Cal, I think, is that in the back of everybody's mind? You want to be aggressive, you need points, but boy, you want to have a car for that second race.
You do. You have to think about every move you're going to make around this racetrack in this first race, Greg. There is not a lot of time in between races, and when you think about the big picture in the championship, you can't afford to be too aggressive today, throw all away, and not get the car fixed. And again, you got to do 50% of these races to get points. We saw that, kind of out-fumble Michael Lewis there at VIR when he didn't get to that halfway point and came up with a 0-point score.
Well, you saw the lights are out on our pace car, the beautiful BMW M4 CS. It makes its run down to get a little bit of an escape, and here we go. Ryan Eversley in the real-time racing Honda Civic Type R, going to bring them up to the green flag. Once the pace car is in, you've got to maintain 55 miles per hour until the green flag flies. And again, a split start. There, the TCA cars just a little bit farther behind. And we are getting ready to go 40 minutes. And on this track, that's a lot of laps. We're green. See if anybody gets a jump. Eversley looks pretty good coming up along the outside, and a big move to the inside by the 98 of Lewis. But Eversley closes the door and controls it, Cal.
He does. Wilkins takes the rim shot there around the outside. Got to be careful that he doesn't get together with his teammate when they get to turn 2. Nice start by our pole setter, and the Hyundai's trying to put the pressure on. Oh, look at this move. Down to the inside. That might be Herzen.
Yeah, and Herzen had a great start as well. Oops, somebody's looped it at the back. That is the 07. That is Jose De Silva. And he's a driver out of Massachusetts and gets it going again. Got away with one here, but he'll drop way to the back of the pack. But yeah, Michael Herzen looked like he was on the move early here, trying. You can see Lewis hunting just a little bit, looking to see if he can get in the mirrors of his teammate Wilkins.
Yeah, Michael Herzen, so many laps around this racetrack, been running here since 1996, the locally based FCP Euro team, just an hour and a half down the road. They've got about 200 guests here this weekend cheering them on, but after lap 1, it's Eversley out front, followed by the 2 Hyundais.
Yeah, I asked Michael, he's out of Granby, Connecticut, and I said, so how many laps do you think you have around here? And he said, I've tried to do the math. He goes, it's over 5,000.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that makes a big difference. Even though it's a relatively simple racetrack, the nuances and the little bit of time you can gain is so critical here on this lap.
Here's the 74 of Matt Fosnot, running the Murillo Racing entry. And new sponsor for him, we just wanted to welcome them, Fuji, to this championship. It's great to have them on board here as they come out of the right-hander into the straight they call No Name. And here's that climbing turn. It's something else.
It really is. It really comes at you quick, and tires should be up to temperature. Very warm day here, so these tires will come up to temperature pretty quickly. And then it's a question of just managing them, depending on the balance of the race car. If you've got any understeer, it's really going to work over that left front during the course of this race.
Look at Mr. Fosnot, of course, very impressive in touring car racing last year. Ooh, in the Pirelli World Challenge, big wiggle at the back there. That's the team car to Herzen. It's the 72 of Nate Vincent, and he's from Pomfrey, Connecticut, and had a big moment on the downhill.
Yeah, I spoke to him yesterday. He said, remarkably, even though I live locally, I've never raced here before. He said, I've done a ton of laps on track days and such, but hasn't actually raced here. Good to see that number 2 machine in the field. Running so strong this year, Jeremy Daniel. We said he's been picking up the piece. Oh, JT Kupal, fastest lap here last year, problems early.
Yeah, 17-year-old, that is in the diving turn, and he has got it wrong into the barriers there.
Wonder if there was some contact. It's very early in the corner to lose control.
So we are under a full course caution. Currently, Eversley, Wilkins, and Lewis. Actually, I don't think that was the diving turn. I think you're right. I think it was at the uphill, which is It's so easy to get that one wrong.
Yeah, but to have it happen so early, and he's like at the base of it, so I wonder if someone tried to get down to the inside. Normally, if you're going to have a problem, it's a little bit further up the hill.
I think that's what caught me out was I saw the elevation change. But so our pace and safety vehicle is back on track once again. This weekend is the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Lime Rock, powered by M. And a big thanks to BMW providing both this, the BMW M4 CS, which is just a remarkable car. Great to have it pacing this field. It's the third special model derived off of the current generation BMW M3 M4. And it's derived off of the M4 specifically with a competition package, but it adds all kind of technical solutions and sharpened driving dynamics and performance. 453 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. And amazingly, it weighs in 65 pounds less than the M4 Coupe with the competition package by the use of great weight-saving stuff. It is a high-performance vehicle.
Okay, I'm sold.
Okay, yeah. I know. I want to get one.
It's a cool-looking car.
Boy,
it really is.
And we also get, they provide us with our medical response vehicle, which is a BMW X5. So a big thank you to the folks. See if we can see what may have happened here.
Yeah, there was other cars involved. Yeah, I thought it was so early in the corner just to lose control by yourself. Adam Merzon involved there in the second of the real-time Hondas. He had a nice qualifying session, a little bit further back on the grid, but 2/10 would have put him fourth on the field. So certainly coming to grips with only his second race in TCR.
Yeah, and there was a third vehicle involved, but it looked like maybe just very indirectly was able to get through. So we are under a full course caution. Let's go back, take a look in the Touring Car A category right now. Tom O'Gorman was able to get the jump. Kenny Murillo, who was on pole, slips to third as Eric Powell. And that man is an opportunist. He gets an opportunity. Eric Powell just is able to take advantage of it. And there's a look at the Touring Car field. Tomo in that blue liveried Honda Civic SI. And you wonder if this might not, you hate to see any kind of a caution, but for Tomo, you get a caution like that he can, especially leading, that he can just keep some hard driving laps off of those Pirelli P0s on the front. He's carrying a lot more weight than he did when the season started, just with BOP and the like. And he said that's going to be the big issue here. And I don't think he's too upset about having a caution here.
No, it certainly gives those tires a chance to breathe a little bit. And VIR, he really struggled with the front tires in terms of keeping the balance underneath him, and it really affected his day late in the going there. But he's a smart young man. He's really much in the thick of the championship. We mentioned at the top of the show, it's really a two-horse race right now between he and Eric Powell. They're separated by just 2 points. Both have a couple of wins so far this year. So every position counts, Greg. I mean, you think it's like throughout the course of this year, it's going to be a seesaw battle.
Yeah, he actually was talking a little bit about what it's like racing with these TCR cars, and he said, ironically, into Big Bend, he said some of them, the TCA cars that have ABS, a little bit better to get in to the turn, but on the overall lap time with those TCR cars and the speed, he said they're going to catch us, and it's going to be interesting. Yeah,
they can really flow so much more apex speed than the TCA machine. So, and also a shout out to Tomo's engineer, Andy Hollis. He's celebrating his 39th anniversary here. So maybe they'll be popping some champagne a little bit later in the day for good reasons.
That'd be a nice way to celebrate it.
Have a look at that incident.
Looked like it may have been, well, you don't want to speculate, that third car that was in it. It looked like I said, it may have just been absolutely indirectly involved just in that spot at that time. I was thinking, though, it may have been David Estella. They've making his first start in TCR, that team. The racing company, TRC, which we were joking about the confusion there, the TRC and TCR. And they've added another car, David Estella, who's got a nice connection with Walt Boland's M1 GT team.
Right.
And so David is here with the brand new version of that Audi running the racing sequential box. Walt's supposed to be in it for the rest of the year, but they just wanted to get some track time in.
Yeah, it's just a one-off at this stage, but David's very excited about this class in the category. He says it's a great little car. He said he hadn't driven it prior to getting here this weekend, so it's a steep learning curve, but he said it's got a lot of potential, and he's hoping actually he's got some sponsors he's working with up in Toronto to hopefully bring them on board for next season and maybe do a much fuller campaign.
Yeah, talking with Mark Wilkins and Michael Lewis, they were both so effusive about these TCR cars. They said there's enough aero in these cars that we found on the longer tracks when you're running behind another car. He said, in regular touring cars, you really don't necessarily feel much of, wash and the like. And they said, in these, you can feel it a little bit. I mean, these things really make some aero. And it's interesting, the design of it. You've got the different car brands, different engines, but it's all built to that same formula. But in terms of the front splitter and the rear wing, it is spec for everybody.
Yes, it is. So, and that's the key for Eversley. He put in a tremendous performance yesterday, grabbing the pole by about 4/10, and he needed to get the jump on Wilkins at the start, which he did. That puts his nose in clean air, so that should be good for his tire deg. And if Wilkins tries to hang with him, he's got to then factor in how hard do I push. But Wilkins has so much front-wheel drive experience, he'll know what to do.
And I think that it was experienced by both real-time racing and the pole sitter Ryan Eversley in the second practice session. When he went out, did 2 laps, put in a wickedly quick time, pitted. They made some adjustments, and then he went out for the rest of the session. I suspect they did a qualifying sim because he repeated it exactly in qualifying, put that time up. They were set.
Yeah, no, there's a sweet spot on these tires, and for the really quick drivers, they can feel that grip immediately, and they're able to lay it all on the line and get the ultimate lap time. And you can keep pounding around thinking, well, I'll drive a more perfect lap, but the goodness, the sweet spot in the tire is already gone.
And that 53.4 that he put in qualifying, I mean, we're talking GT4 times around here, aren't we, basically?
Yeah, they're really quick times. And, it's got to be a blast to drive one of these machines around here. Adam Mirza, unfortunately, has got going again. Not sure if there's any real damage to the car. A little bit of the back there.
Yeah. Just tells you what may have happened. I wonder if JT just got in there a little quick, tapped the back, and Adam got spun, but JT just kicked him off sideways and right into that barrier. And that turn, I mean, you look at the maps and everything, you don't realize how fast that climbing turn is.
Yeah, it's just down a gear and then just trying to pick the throttle back up as early as you can without running out of road as you crest the hill. The front gets light and it just kind of washes out the front of the car, so you got to be careful that you don't drop the left-hand side tires into the runoff area there.
And you saw the shot. They have JT Kupal's car on the hook and actually have it already down into pit lane. That other unit is still there. They're just, I'm sure, getting that tire bundle straightened out just a little bit. But I would suspect we're pretty close to going back to green.
Yeah, that's really affected 25% away through this race effectively. So that's going to really factor into managing these tires. Got some laps off the board here. And I think if anyone was close in terms of, maybe I'm going to be trouble at the end, they should be able to run flat out at this point.
Yeah, with these Pirelli P0s, a remarkable tire that you can work on and push, but obviously on a track that's just got constant loads in one direction, you have to manage any tire no matter how good it is, and this gives them a little bit of breathing room. And the only real difference that you find in these cars is you can run a racing gearbox, but you have to carry more weight because it's lighter than the DSG gearbox, they call it, that comes with it. But it's the location of that DSG gearbox in these front-wheel drive cars that, especially at this track, could be an issue.
Yeah, it's over that left front corner, so it really adds to the kind of the effect you're putting on the dynamics of the car. You're already loading that left front. When you add some weight to it, that just really puts a lot more stress on that corner and that tire especially. So they got to factor that in. And that's basically all of the Audis and VWs that run that DSG box.
And the other factor that we really haven't addressed here, it's a beautiful sunny day, so that track getting pummeled with sunlight, so it's warm. It's warm outside, too, and the humidity is climbing a lot as well. We're into the 80s with high 80s forecast for this afternoon. So that puts its own stress and strain on the car, on the tires, and the driver.
Yes, but they're getting a bit of a breather here. So it's only a 40-minute race.
Right.
A lot of these guys are used to endurance racing, so this should be a walk in the park, as we call it.
A breeze.
A breeze.
I didn't see it, and I haven't heard from race control, but if the lights were out, nope. We got one more lap of caution here at any rate.
And the color of that beautiful pace car is lime rock gray.
Yeah,
It is. It's what Victor Leleu, the BMW Motorsport manager, was telling me yesterday. He's very proud of this car, and
he should be.
Going to be launched here in July, so go check it out at your dealer.
It is, as you might say, a beautiful bit of kit.
It is. It's sweet.
Yes, and that X5 as our medical rapid response vehicle doesn't get a whole much better than that, I don't think so.
See everyone weaving around right now. It's more to just try and get the tires cleaned off. Temperature shouldn't be too much of an issue, and one of the methods the drivers have kind of gotten into these days is really using the brake pedal to try and create some tire temperature by driving with your right foot on the gas pedal against left foot braking and just really generating as much brake temp as you can, then comes up through the brake calipers into the upright and then into the wheel itself, heats the air and the tire at the same time. So it's a trick of the trade that they use now.
And as we hear word, we're going green this time by. Let's get down to pit lane, check in with Gino.
Hey, Cal, Greg, I have talking to Nathan Bonneau, crew chief for the number 44 Civic Type R with Adam Merzon. It sounds like someone got into the back of him. JT Copel got into the back of him, put him off into the wall. He has damage in that left rear, but he will continue on.
All right, thanks very much, Gino. Yeah, we could see it at perfect timing there. A little wrinkle in the back of that car, but doesn't look like it really got into anything mechanically. So hopefully he will be able to continue unabated. And we are going to be going back to green here, and he'll be at the back of the pack, so he's going to have some fun coming up through those turn
He'll have a lot of fun. He stayed on the lead lap, which is important, as his teammate Ryan Eversley, who will share a car within GTS Sprint X competition, leads the field to green.
And he's in that acceleration zone. Pace car and safety car is in, and we are back to green flag racing. Eversley rolling into it. Oh, look at that. Mason Filippi way down to the inside.
Yeah, he got a good run there on Michael Herzen, who didn't have a great restart there. Got jumped by the top three as Lewis looking for a way by his teammate Mark Wilkins there. Battle between the two Hyundais for the second position.
Flowing through that left-hander. Now the right-hander onto No Name Straight. Well, that group up front, they've just opened that margin up again immediately, Cal.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that was that Herzen really had to defend from Filippi after the restart, but he's getting a great run in the uphill. He's really quick through there, Michael Herzen in the 71 FCP Euro machine.
Sitting behind him, we talked about Filippi. Then it's the 69 of Anthony Girazzi in the Highland Racing Development entry. One of the Audis, RS3 LMS.
Look at this. Lewis has dropped back a little bit. This may be strategy. Let's not forget, Greg, that grid for tomorrow is set by your fast lap time today. So maybe he's just looking for some clean air to be able to lay down a really quick lap here while the tires are still really strong and set up for his grid spot for tomorrow.
Jeremy Daniel trying an outside move on Girazzi, couldn't quite get that done. He's got his teammate, the number 8 of Ostello, right behind him. Meanwhile, Matt Fosnot saw the 8 open up a little bit, tried to stick that Murillo Racing Audi down to the inside. This track, a little bit difficult to pass on here, so that lap, I think you're right with that strategy. You need to get one in.
You do, and certainly this is a racetrack that gives a whole new meaning to working someone over. You'll see them work on every side, just trying to figure out a way, particularly through those S's there.
Well, and at a mile and a half, these laps just come at you so quickly. And you think, all right, I can figure something out, and suddenly you're 3 corners, later at that point. And
look at that, Lewis, fast lap.
Did it.
He did it. I like that smart thinking. Just laid back there and just laid down a 54.279. Fastest lap of the race right now. 4/10s up on Eversley. That's smart thinking. Let the two leaders duke out. I'll drop back here while the tires are really good. Get some clean air to the front of the car. And bang.
There's Merzon trying to work his way up through the field. Gets up and alongside and around the number 79. That's Spencer Patterson. Tech Sport Racing Subaru BRZ. Here's your battle for the lead in the TCA class. And O'Gorman hanging on to it, but both Powell and in that orange Murillo Racing Mazda Global MX-5 Cup car, Kenny Murillo, I'm sure he's a little peeved he lost that lead having that pole position.
Yeah, and you see O'Gorman when he's set up for the left-hander, he really kind of opens the door there, and I think later in the going, Eric Powell may take that invitation. I think for that Honda front-wheel drive, he needs that big radius to get through there effectively and not sort of grind on those tires.
And Powell, pretty savvy. He knows the mission for him with O'Gorman in front of him is just to hound him, try and push him ever harder, use those tires up.
Absolutely. It's knowing your competitor, knowing their weaknesses, whether it's the driving or the machine itself that you're competing against. And Murillo's looking really strong there. He just looks like he's just hovering, waiting for these guys to maybe burn their cars down a little bit. Not literally, but just tire-wise, and take advantage. The Mazda always strong around this racetrack.
Powell took a look. About midway through the double apex of Big Bend. And that car, obviously, that Subaru BRZ TS, very, very effective. We've seen them have great runs all year. And probably an outright single-lap pace. It's that Civic SI in the hands of O'Gorman that might be the fastest car out there. But over the course of a race, that Subaru and those global Mazda MX-5 Cup cars, Mazda has a fairly stellar record here at Lime Rock over the years in various series.
It does. Mouché's having a great run there in the fourth spot. He's now under pressure from Adam Merzon, who's cut his way through the field very effectively.
There's PJ Gronke, of course, the defending touring car beach. I thought I saw some smoke. It looks out of the left front. That's not good.
Look there. A bit of contact here in the early going and got that tire rub.
Yeah.
Looks like the grill and everything does look a little off kilter when you look at it from the head-on shots. We focus back on our leaders here. Look at Murillo. He's looking feisty.
Just heard from race control, who heard from the corners that there was a little bit of contact for PJ with somebody out there, which would explain it. Right behind them, you talked about Merzon. Oh, big carambolage here. A couple of cars getting together. Stella in the silver 08, and that's Gerasi in the HRD number 69.
And in Big Bend.
Yep.
This thing with front-wheel drive, you get sort of knocked sideways, you can pull yourself out of it.
Yeah, just turn into it, give it a little bit of welly. Everybody able to continue on. And that's part of it, I mean, at this track, because it's so flowing, so much momentum, and every once in a while you try and move, and you have to get a little aggressive and stick your nose in, and it's easy for it to go wrong.
It is. Great to see so many of these TCR machines here, 14-car field. I think this class is just going to go from strength to strength when we get to next season, and people are already probing and talking about programs, which is great.
Well, ooh.
There's some debris there that went flying. I think something must have come off one of the cars that had contact down in Big Bend and finally let go there at high speed.
I think that was Anthony's car. Meanwhile, back, good battle here that's been going for a few laps now for fourth. Herzen and then number 71, Liqui-Moly FCP Euro machine, and right behind him, Felipe, who has been putting on a good run in the TFB VW Golf GTI, the Schmib.com machine. Very similar cars. And getting back to your comment about this class, being something that I think next year we're going to see substantial growth. One of the reasons, Cal, is its affordability. Ooh, and look at this.
Traffic.
That's Merzon. Ooh, and a touch.
Wow, Powell's got through. Powell has made the move. He's taken advantage maybe of Merzon making his way through. O'Gorman comes back at him into the right-hander there on a No Name. Takes the position back. Now they're side by side. It's a drag race down No Name. O'Gorman may be in trouble. Has he lost pace there, Greg?
Yeah, I wonder. That little hip check that he got from Powell, if that damaged something.
That was strange because he was right alongside and then suddenly seemed to lose a lot of power, acceleration at least momentarily.
I wonder if he clipped that curb pretty good, got it up, and the inside wheel just spun up and lost some of his drive.
Murillo takes advantage and see Uretsky off.
Over in the turn 4 area, which that's the right-hander leading on to the No Name straight. So now O'Gorman's got his work to do. And Murillo, you can see it. Murillo knew how quick that car is in a straight line. And a problem for PJ Gronke. We've seen that smoke coming from the car. I wonder if that rub was so severe it finally just cut through that tire count.
Could have done. Could have done, but starting to heat up here, Greg. We're seeing action everywhere right now.
Absolutely.
And I have to wonder when we saw that battle for the lead in TCA, whether when Adam Merzon came through, he just opened up the door for Powell to make a move. O'Gorman tried to recover there and get the position back, got up on that curb, but seems like he's got the pace back again, so
yeah.
Nothing too dramatic with the machine, you would think.
And then behind them, as we're looking at O'Gorman, behind O'Gorman right now, got the battle between Travis Wache, local driver, knows this track, and Jeff Sexton, the VW, going up against another of the Subarus. There goes Wache into your frame, that orange, white, and red liveried car in the back of the frame, and then Sexton closing on him as well. Jeff in one of the Tech Sport Subarus. There's Travis. Travis was very, very impressive at VIR in terms of his pace in this class. And they're just not quite there in terms of being able to close up and battle for the lead at this stage, but a good scrap for fourth.
This is a neat little battle. Sexton yesterday actually had to borrow parts off Eric Powell's car to make FP2. Let's take another look at this moment here. Powell gets, Powell's already through before moves on even in the picture, so this happened a lap before, I believe, Greg.
It was, yeah. Gorman's certainly using that curb a little bit. And here we go. This is the number 10. That's Jenny Gannett. Nice to have her in the championship. There's the 44 Mirzon, who's now cleared all the touring car A cars.
Yeah, Jenny's learning all the tracks. Jenny Gannett, her only track she knows is the one where she's now moving to and where the team is based out of, Utah Motorsports campus. So every track is new, so big learning curve for this year, but Ian Lacey Racing really believe in Jenny's talents, and it's a learning curve right now, but she's a really cool lady and loving the racing, very passionate about it.
There's the number 43, your overall leader of Eversley, already catching the touring car A field, working his way up, and in doing so, the last time by Leon had almost a 3-second lead as Matt Fosnot has had a bit of an off in the Fuji Murillo Racing number 74 Audi.
You see a little bit of damage from that earlier contretemps down in Big Bend.
Chasing the similar car, different team of Anthony Gerasi.
Gerasi was unlucky not to get that podium run at the first round of the championship. Had the position on Ryan Eversley, but exceeded track limits and was taken away from him post-race. So we talked about Jeremy Daniel being the only person other than Hondas or Hyundais on the podium this year. Actually, Gerasi was very close to it.
Sure was.
Just got stopped from walking up there.
And Eversley, that margin, again, just a tick under 3 seconds, so he was able to get through traffic, but Wilkins was able to do so as well, and Wilkins cannot shake his young teammate, Michael Lewis. They're separated by less than a second.
Well, you know that Eversley's going to keep pushing, because right now Lewis still holds on to that fastest lap of the race, but it's only by 100th of a second, so if Eversley can get a clear lap, let's look at his times and see if he can lay down a quick one and grab pole for the second race here today.
Right now, it looks like he would at least still be front row. And then it is Wilkins next up, about, what, 4/10 off of those guys. Down the hill we go.
Real key to this racetrack, that downhill is pretty amazing corner, Greg, and with the difference in speed between the two classes, the stewards were very adamant, like you just can't stick your nose in down there. Even if you've got a much faster car, you have to respect the other competitors in that extremely fast corner, because if you tuck it to the inside with more speed and more downforce, you get in no man's land if you're on the outside, and we've seen it so many times over the years with people going for a ride there.
We saw the incident earlier that involved the number 8 of David Ostella, and Gino has found him down in pit lane.
Greg, Cal, I am down in the pits with David Ostella, the driver of the number 8 Audi TCR car. David, an unfortunate situation here today. Can you tell us what happened out there?
Yeah, the car was running great. M1 GT, was sistered with TRC. We were struggling a bit in practice qualifying. This weekend, not much time to make any changes, but we made some great changes last night. Car felt amazing in the race. I started 12th, got up to 9th off the first lap. Car felt great. I was hoping to get some clear track time, really get to know the car. It's my first time ever in it. So unfortunately, a racing incident happened. I got tangled with somebody in turn 1, and I think we lost some water, so I ended kind of overheated, so we pulled it in. Unfortunate racing incident. We're going to go through it, see exactly what happened. But it's one of those things. I kind of feel bad. It's more of a testing for us this weekend. I'm not in championship, I'm not in the points or anything, so I'm just hoping we can get back out there and see what we can do tomorrow.
Great. Thank you very much, David. Hope to see you out in round 2.
And of course, Gino, that's habit to say what we can do tomorrow, but it's later this afternoon, so that crew is going to be up on it here, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really a compact schedule, and I think you didn't want to keep everyone on the road for an extra couple of days to compete here on Monday, so I love the format in terms of double headers each day with touring car and TCR, TCA combination race that we're looking at right now, and then GTS and GT Sprint X competition on Monday.
And the fans, it's just nonstop all day. And the nice thing here is you get to see these 4 touring car class races intermixed with GT qualifying.
Right.
That's a fun day.
It is. So if you don't see the GT cars race, you can certainly see them out on the racetrack going for it in qualifying.
Oh, look at this angry little mob here. That's the battle for second in Touring Car A as Powell has gotten away a little bit. The orange Mazda.
Hers, and he really had to check up there, just trying to focus on the acceleration run off that corner. It's a real chess game.
That's the battle for fourth in TCR, getting through the battle for second in Touring Car A. And, you know, you're racing in Touring Car A for your own position in your own race. You're not just going to open the door up.
Great to see Brian Ortiz campaigning here this weekend with Copeland Motorsports in that VW Golf. Had a nice strong run here. Typically run by Jarrett Andretti. I believe it's just a one-off at this stage, but Brian's certainly a real talent in anything that he jumps into.
Yeah, I mean, he currently sits third in the Touring Car A points, so it's a great opportunity for him to get this nod. Apparently, the team knew what was going to be happening on this weekend, and they put him, Ortiz, into that car, into Jarrett's car at VIR for a few laps, and they said very quickly he was right on pace. He said, so we knew we had our replacement.
Yeah, he's a great fit. And O'Gorman's got around Murillo, obviously, for the second position. Powell has now stretched the lead up front to about 4 seconds or so.
Yeah, he's really broken free. And, you know, part of it is sometimes, even though you're in the quote-unquote slower...
that was
that's
so close.
Tough. Yeah, the exit of West Bend, and there's not a lot of room over there, and they made it work, but...
We're talking about sticking it down to the inside. That's that call we just talked about a couple of minutes ago. Those faster cars coming down the inside. Daniel there really doing a little work over on Powell. He would have lost a ton of time, I would think, on this lap compared to O'Gorman behind him. Yeah, that 4-second lead is down to 2.5 seconds with that little moment in traffic for our leader in TCA, Eric Powell.
Well, and you've got to give Powell immense amounts of credit there, because twice in terrible locations on the track when somebody got underneath him, he was wise enough, saw what was happening, and didn't end up off track. That was heads-up, track-aware driving by Eric Powell.
Oh, look at this, Murillo to the inside. O'Gorman gives him a little bit of room. Murillo has to get all over that curb to avoid hitting him. TCR traffic is coming through at the same time.
That happens here. It is such a fast lap that you're constantly in traffic, and in a multi-class race, it's coming at you from all angles here. That's the 69 of Gerasi slipping through on O'Gorman. And Murillo lost a little bit of ground in that exchange, Cal.
Yeah, he did, and it's all about learning the dynamic. You're out there running with each other in practice, but until you get in race mode, you don't really know how you're going to interact with the two classes running on the same track at the same time with everyone pushing hard.
And Gino, it looks like on clear track, Murillo able to run down O'Gorman. He just got caught out in some traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny seems to be doing fantastic out there. It may have something to do with the recent adjustment with him and the Mazda MX-5 cars getting a little bit bigger tire, giving him a little bit more grip and a lot more straight line speed. They seem to be doing just fine today.
Well, that bigger tire also certainly, I would think, would help with the tire deg that you would experience here otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're getting off the corners, that'll give you a little bit more straightaway speed in terms of how you get off the previous corner on the straights helps. So Murillo's probably loving life. Carl probably never felt any better. Nothing like more grip.
Well, this is one of those tracks that is absolutely a momentum track, and I think when you think about a momentum race car, MX-5,
that's for sure,
fits the bill. Boy, this is a good battle. Even though it's back a little bit now, the 72 of Vincent and the 69 of Gerasi having a good scrap, as are the two teammates still up front, Wilkins and Lewis, in the Hyundai, the i30Ns.
Yeah, and right now they obviously can't get too feisty. We've seen them really race nicely with one another, just making sure that Hyundai are getting the maximum points that they can out of each race. But looking at fast laps, certainly Michael Lewis has laid down. He put that early flyer in at 54.2. That compares to Eversley's 54.28, so he's 100th of a second quicker. But his teammate who he's following right now, Mark Wilkins, his best is a 54.7, so that's a huge delta there between the two team cars in terms of fast lap of the race. You see Wilkins really sliding there through the left-hander.
We're under 8 minutes left in this. Remember, we had that long yellow period early in the race, but everybody now has just been at it for a while. The temperature in terms of ambient and thus track just continuing to climb. And
well, this is not good for Wilkins. He's got to be careful here. Lewis could get a run on him. Probably nowhere to go with it, even if he does have
That's
better
the problem,
acceleration. He
isn't it?
needs to check up a little bit and just try and get on the power early right there and see if he can draft his teammate. Wilkins will need to protect possibly as they head down towards the break zone for Big Bend.
And you can see the little bit of indecision by Mark Wilkins. I mean, you know, you're running up on this, but you know, you're looking at the back of the TCA cars, and you may not have any real experience racing with some of these drivers, so you don't know what's this guy going to do necessarily. And you can see him kind of, maybe not. And I think that was discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah, super cautious there, and he realizes that Eversley's well down the road, so by taking a chance, it's not like it's really going to gain you a position, but certainly he doesn't want to let his team, we see a 24 around. That's on the exit of the right-hander onto No Name, I believe.
And that's Murillo, who was battling with O'Gorman for second. We are under a full course caution.
If he tried to make a move on Tomo.
Yeah. Got the flashers on and the windshield wiper going.
In fact, the wiper's kind of up in the air. I wonder if there's some front end damage that we weren't seeing from that camera shot.
Exactly. So, again, full course caution at about the 6.5 minute mark.
Could be looking like a one-lap shootout at best. They get this cleaned up. Key is going to be how much damage to the tire bundle.
Exactly.
As much they can probably get that car pulled off into that safe haven there that we're looking at.
This has been an area where we've seen a surprising number of incidents. That right-hander that leads onto No Name straight. That's a spot we've seen drivers just drop those right sides a little bit trying to get a run, and you get up underneath somebody, and right after you do that, the track bends just a little bit, and it can catch people out. So this is going to pack things up. That lead that Eversley had is going to evaporate. And the big lead that Powell had built up is going to go away. And if O'Gorman has anything left in those Pirelli P0s, we know that car in terms of outright speed is good. And you can see the BMW X5 on the scene with the Pirelli World Challenge safety team. There's a look at Tomo.
Yeah.
That car, of course, he has two big sponsors on that are Grid Life and SCCA Track Night. Grid Life, their big Midwest Festival is coming up in a couple of weeks at Gingerman Raceway in Western Michigan. It's a motorsports lifestyle event. Combines motorsports, music, and track day sessions. And it's a pretty cool deal. And SCCA Track Night, they actually hosted a couple events at Lime Rock right in the lead up to this event. So Tomo is sort of an ambassador for Track Night. It's been a busy time for the young lad.
Yeah, a ton of cars here, I believe.
That's what I heard.
Okay, are we
120 drivers.
Yeah. Can we get everything cleaned up and get back to some green flag racing before the checkers here? Reset for Eversley. He's got some lap traffic in between so I'm not sure if they're going to give that lap traffic the wave by. And this was probably a pretty big hit. They're assisting Kenny Murillo here out of the car, so
just shaken up a little bit.
Young man had 4 wins last year. Great competitor. His dad was very successful in racing, and great mentor to his son's driving.
GT3 national champion a few years ago, his dad was. Really
Super V8 back in the 80s.
Yes, yeah. So the caution continues. Now, we did have a white and checkers at VIR, didn't we? But, of course, that's like 3 laps here, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's going to be a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
I think you're right on the concern is getting the car removed is one thing. If there was damage to the tire wall and bundles, I would think, Cal, we're probably, unfortunately, not going to be able to get this one completed here, just with the fact that we're under 3 minutes and they still even haven't started the load up on the car.
Yeah, it's a shame because it's a good little race going on there throughout the field. Curious to see what in fact happened there with Murillo. He'd been in a race-long battle with O'Gorman, well, Powell initially, and then O'Gorman for the second half of the event.
And it could have been something as simple as some of the TCR cars coming through while they were having their own race.
Yeah, if you get tipped at right the wrong point as you're hard on the power coming off that right-hander can send you for a ride.
It's interesting, in both classes, the leader had built up a sizable lead, and we get word from race control, red and checkered flag going to come out here. They realize there's no way to be able to affect this cleanup in time to meet the race time requirement, and so the recovery of the car and tire wall repair will exceed what's left in the time on track. So instead of driving just for a couple of caution laps through an area where there's people working on track, I think very wisely they are going to, there it is, the red and checker flag. So this 5th round of the Pirelli World Challenge TCR and TCA Championship here at the Grand Prix of Lime Rock, powered by M, will finish under caution as the field heads down into pit lane. And whenever the red is displayed, and the reason they do that is as they lead the cars into pit lane, some are pitted past the start-finish line, some before. So if you display the red, it automatically reverts to the previous lap. And they'd already had a couple of yellows, so that wasn't going to change anything. So Ryan Eversley, from his 2nd pole of the season, puts together a 2nd win of the mix.
Oh, there you can see more of the accident damage to Murillo. Left front completely torn out of that machine. So Eversley will extend his championship lead by a little bit over Wilkins. So 1st and 2nd and 3rd in the championship finish. 1st and 2nd and 3rd in the race in TCR.
And Eric Powell gets his 3rd win on the year, his 5th top 2 in 5 races. That's how you earn points.
As we said, could be a 2-horse race. Certainly there was some challenges here today, but Powell and O'Gorman finished 1st and 2nd. So that, blown out that points margin. It's now 4 points.
It is some close stuff. It's great fun. There's a look at our unofficial TCR results. Again, the local favorite, Michael Herzen, a nice top 5. Mason Filippi hanging on to that 5th spot. Brian Ortiz is a replacement driver, first start in TCR.
That's good.
I think that's a pretty respectable drive sitting in 6th.
Very strong. They'll be happy with that.
And there is the showman, Ryan Eversley, out of the car.
Wish he had some personality.
I know. There's so much he could do.
Just get that
look at
boy
that
on
class
social
act
media.
as Michael Lewis and Mark Wilkins come over, give him some congrats. And getting this one done in this heat today. It's Toasty. Gino, he's a happy guy.
Hey, you know what? It's always a good day, right?
Great day.
We always get to do this, Ryan, and it's fantastic, and I'm really happy for you, but congratulations, another TCR win. How does it feel? I mean, I know that Wilkins and Lewis have been friends of yours and teammates of yours. Tell me about how this Honda Civic Type R real-time racing car performed for you today.
I got to tell you, this Type R is so awesome. I got to drive the street car for a couple weeks, and I loved it. I want to get one. Maybe if I win the championship, they'll give me one. But, man, what a great day. We got a pole yesterday. We got the win today. Hats off to this real-time team, HPD, everybody at JAS, Nicola, our new engineer that's here, everything, Chris Willis at home. Final thought, dedicating my win to Dakota Armstrong, who's in the hospital with surgery on her leg yesterday. Love you, sweetie. Hope you feel better. Thanks, everybody. This is amazing. Thanks, Gino.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Let me get that on there. Is that on there?
Well, I'll tell you what, just that front drive experience, and then the experience he's had in the faster, more powerful, GT3 and GT4 equipment, you combine that for Ryan and stick him in this platform, which he knows so well, it's pretty impressive stuff.
It really is a dominant weekend so far. But Michael Lewis, he had that strategy. We saw it play out, Greg. He dropped back and it's like, did he just make a mistake or is he looking for clean air? And he knew when the tires were good, he laid the hammer down. He's going to start from pole with Ryan right alongside him. But with this latest round of the BOP adjustments in terms of the technical specs for the car, it seems to have swayed the favor from, I think Hyundai had the advantage in the early going. I think Honda may have the better tip of the scale right now.
And in Touring Car A right now, looks like it's a Subaru day, Gino.
It definitely is a Subaru day, guys. Eric, you and I have talked about standing right here together. Finally, you've done it. Congratulations. How did it feel?
It never gets old. It's honestly the best feeling in the world. That's why we all do it. That feeling of winning is just so incredible. I hate that it ended under yellow. We had a good fight there for a little while. Traffic played a huge factor today. I got pretty lucky in traffic and kind of forced my own hand a little bit there a couple times. But again, huge thanks to my Tech Sport Racing team. They do an amazing job preparing the car. Subaru,
BRZ TS, just an incredible car as always. And of course, I haven't given enough credit to, this is actually the car owner here, Ben Bettenhausen, part of the famous Bettenhausen racing family. So
really proud of Eric. He's done a fantastic job. It's just been a pleasure working with him. He's amazing.
His company, P2P Group's been supporting us all the way. Fishes and Stat Labs on board this weekend with us. Huge thanks to them, and they're here as well. So couldn't be better.
As you can see, Eric is not shy of graciousness. Congratulations to Subaru and Tech Sport Racing.
Absolutely, just a great drive. That team just continues to impress, Cal. And I'll tell you, Eric Powell, one thing I've come to realize from him, as you take a look at the results, yeah, he's quick, but he's an opportunist. When he sees an opportunity, he can very quickly make the move he needs to make, get that little break, and he did it again today, I think.
He did. Tenacious driving once again by Eric, and he knows that this bat you can't afford. I mean, it's a twofer, do you know what I mean? If you're not getting the points, but your main competitor is, that's a big difference when you make those position changes in these races.
So Gorman does get another podium. That'll help. Jeff Sexton, a good run up into third. And Travis Wache sitting in fourth. He'll obviously, the local driver would have liked to have been a little bit further up the order here at home, but nonetheless a good run. And Spencer Patterson rounding out your top five. So that's going to wrap things up here for our coverage of the TCR and TCA fifth round of the Pirelli World Challenge Championship. Next up here at the track is going to be a practice session. We'll be back with you around 12:40 here on our global web stream for the Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car race, which will, of course, be also round 5 of the championship. So please make sure and tune in then. And if you can't get to the web at that time, well, if you've got SiriusXM, check things out. We'll be with you on channel 383 on the radio or channel 983 on the app. We look forward to seeing and having you with us in just a little while.